Hello class, so our topic for today is all about the ADI model. So the ADI model was developed by the Center for Educational Technology at Florida State University for the U.S. Army in 1970s. Their goal was to standardize the process of creating instructional materials and training programs for military personnel and enable systematic and effective approach to education and training within the military. So the ADI model is a widely used instructional design framework that stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate, providing a systematic approach to creating effective training and learning programs. So that is what we call the ADI model. So next is the analyze. So what is the analyze? In the analyze phase of the ADI process, the first task is to identify the problem you're trying to solve. For example, maybe it's poor sales, a non-exclusive culture, or a lack of skills to move a more digitized organization. In the design phase of the ADI model, you translate all the information collated in the analyze phase into a learning design. An outline is created that structures the learning intervention and specifies learning objectives for each workshop or lesson. Next is develop. In the develop phase, you will use your storyboards and/or prototypes as a guide to creating your courses. You've already decided on the core learning objectives. Now it's time to start bringing the training to life. So next is the implement. The implementation stage focuses on the delivery of the training and project management. This includes communicating with learners, logistics, data collection, and training trainers for global rollouts of the learning program. So next is the evaluation. The evaluation is an integral part of every stage of the ADI learning model, but it also gets its own pace as soon as you deliver your first course or workshop. You want to intimidate and continuous feedback so that you can implement improvements. So the training for sales representatives. The focus of this sample training plan for sales representative is on improving sales skills like rapport building, prospecting, presenting, and negotiating. So the next is the training for public speaking and presentation. This sample employee training plan will focus on improving public speaking skills including communication, clarity, connection with the audience, projecting the voice, tone of voice, creating note cards, designing and engaging. And last is what are the benefits of ADI model. So the ADI learning development model is commonly used because it's highly adaptable and suitable for different industries, disciplines, and learning environment as well for different scale projects. Next topic is all about the Merrill's principle of instruction. So David Merrill, or Mariner David Merrill, is an American education researcher specializing in instructional design and technology. Was born on March 27, 1937. Merrill's principle of instruction, or the MPI, is the most straightforward, simplest instructional design model we've examined so far. Yet it packs a lot of power because Merrill believed effective learning experiences are rooted in problem solving. Merrill's principle of instruction MPI is the most straightforward examined so far, yet it packs a lot of power because Merrill believed effective learning experiences are rooted in problem solving. Educational programs to design according to his principle deliver value because learners know how to apply what they know. So what are the 5 principles of instruction according to Dr. David Merrill? So first is the problem-centered, activation, demonstration, application, and the integration. So introducing Merrill's principle of instruction. In his study of instructional design theories and models, education researcher David Merrill identified and focused on these 5 principles: problem-centric, activation, demonstration, application, and the integration. So first is the problem task focus. Merrill said truly effective learning experiences are rooted in problem solving. Problem solving learning experiences are a practical use of learners' time and money. So many instructional designers believe a problem-centered programs. Next is the activation. First, activate the learner's existing knowledge on the topic or their memory of an experiences related to the topic. Relate new information to that existing knowledge or the memory. So that's what we call the activation. Next is the demonstration. So what is demonstration is? Merrill said educators must show versus tell. At this pace, learners are watching, not yet doing. The learner must observe the process and see how it works in real life. So that is the demonstration, what we called. And next is the application. So in application, Merrill believe answering multiple choice, short answer, or matching questions which rely only on a learner's memory isn't sufficient for the application aspect of learning. He believed learners should actually do their learning in the context of a real-world problem. Next is the integration. Finally, the learner must transfer and integrate the new knowledge into their life. Help learner define how they will apply their new knowledge at work. So the last topic is the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a hierarchical classification system developed by Benjamin Bloom that categorizes learning objectives into 6 levels of cognitive complexity: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and last is the evaluation. So Benjamin Samuel Bloom was born on February 21, 1913 and died on September 13, 1999, was an American education psychologist who made a contribution to the classification of educational objectives and the theory of mastery learning. He is particularly noted for leading educational psychologists and the original version of Bloom's taxonomy. In 1956, Benjamin Bloom and a group of cohorts published the Taxonomy of Educational Objectives, the classification of educational goals, aka Bloom's taxonomy. They wanted to break away from the fixation with rote learning as in remembering. Next is the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So the revised Bloom's taxonomy in 2001, a group led by Bloom's student Lauren Anderson published a revision of Bloom's taxonomy, a taxonomy for teaching, learning, and assessment, a revision of Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives. So what are the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy? First is remember. Definition, retrieve, recall, and organize relevant knowledge for long-term memory. Dates important events in U.S. history. Remember the components of black bacterial cell. Appropriate learning. Next is the understand. Definition, demonstrate comprehension through one or more forms of explanation. Classify a mental illness, compare ritual practices in 2 different religions. Appropriate learning outcome verbs for this level include abstract, arrange, and etc. So next is the apply. Definition, use information or a skill in a new situation. So this one is appropriate learning outcome verbs for this level include apply, calculate, carry out, and etc. The next is the transfer, translate, and next is the use. So next is analyze. So what is analyze? Break material into its constituents parts and determine how the parts relate to another and or to an overall structure or purpose. So these appropriate learning outcome verbs for this level include analyze, arrange, break down, categorize, classify, compare, and etc. So the next is evaluate. Make judgments based on criteria and standards. So this one is appropriate learning outcome verbs for this level include appraise, apprise, argue, assess, compare, conclude, consider, contrast, convince, criticize, and others. And that's all for our topic for today, and I hope you learned something in our discussion. Thank you.